Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Like Father, Like Daughter, Season 3, Episode 2. I'm your host, Chris Shipley, as always with my daughter, or it would be really weird if we did that and we called it Like Father, Like Daughter, and we had somebody else on.
Yeah, just a random girl.
Just some random kid. Yeah, just some random person.
Well, we have an extra guest joining us tonight.
Oh, Callahan. What's up?
Yeah,
I'm guessing Callie's there because you can't trust her to go anywhere with you not in the room.
Yeah, honestly, if she goes out of my sight line for more than 10 seconds, then I start to get worried.
So how's the puppy life? Let's get an update on the puppy life.
When
great, huh?
Listen, when I first set out to adopting a dog or adopting a pet, I did not think I would get a dog, first of all. And then if I did get a dog, I did not think I would be getting like a puppy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad. I love her. I definitely was not ready for a puppy, but like, you know what? Sometimes you just have to get a puppy, but that's I love her. She chews everything. Also with her being a Jack Russell Terrier, like she chews everything. This toy.
Yeah, but she doesn't bark, right? She doesn't bark very often,
yeah,
right?
She does. Yeah, a little bit. This toy I bought for her Saturday.
Shut up.
It used to be a flamingo. And it was made out of the same material that fire hoses are made out of.
Oh, well, give her a toy back. She wants it back.
There's fluff constantly in my apartment. I had to confiscate Mr. Monkey and Mr. Dragon that you and Mom got her for Christmas because she ripped off 3 of Mr. Monkey's arms. I mean, 1 of his arms and 2 of his legs.
2 of his legs?
Yeah. He's worse off than Lieutenant Dan. Like,
oh my God. Nice cultural reference, though. Nice job.
Thank you.
So what have you been up to?
Oh, nothing. I have been trying to hit the gym more consistently. I've actually been doing a really good job on that. And yeah, I mean, I actually start school, my grad school class next Monday. So
okay. So how many
first day jitters, a little anxiety.
That's in person, right?
Well, this first class I have is a hybrid, so it's face-to-face and in person. I need to check my email. I assume the first class is going to be in person.
Okay.
But I have a parking pass, so I don't have to worry about like trying to find parking near Drake and stuff like that. So it's just the anxiety of like getting back into the rhythm of being a student again. It was really nice not being a student.
Yeah,
actually, my teaching partner has a practicum student, and I'm like, gosh, I am so glad I'm a student again, aren't I? So,
well, that'll be a lot of fun for you,
yeah.
I'm sure.
And there's a lot of
stressful nights, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of perks. Like if I'm having a late night on campus, I have access to the facilities on campus. So like a gym, the library.
Yeah.
That's
great.
I don't know how much, and I can get like student discounts again and like student pricing on like tickets to Drake games and stuff.
Oh, very nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be
good. Let's see what's new with me. I started back to the gym, started back to Farrell's. For everybody that maybe is not watching part of the Old Man Strength Challenge stuff that I'm doing a blog on Three Beards Media, a video blog. Caitlin joined me on Farrell's orientation day, took some video of me doing my weigh-in and things like that.
Such
2 weeks.
Good videographer.
I know, right? I'm a week and a half in. I missed tonight because of the weather. Just wasn't sure how bad it was going to get. Well, I got the Mustang, and what?
Is your wife not home? Could you not
she's home.
Could you not use the Traverse?
I was at work. I was at work, and class is at 4:30. I didn't have time to get home, get the Traverse, and go back. Just shut up. Don't judge me. I'm
not judging. That's why I chose a 4-day-a-week workout plan. Yeah, some flexibility in my workout plan. Okay.
Well, I'm too far gone. I need a 6-day one. So, but so yeah, I've tracked all my food for a week and a half. So,
I saw you posting some yummy recipes. I saw the lasagna. That one's my favorite.
So good. Yeah, that was good. I ate that for like 4 meals in a row.
I honestly
don't even lie. Doesn't bother me.
Nope. So. No, Nick and I made carne asada tacos, like street tacos last night with ingredients all from Aldi. We cooked together, we cleaned together. It was really nice. And then we packed it in for a lunch he packed it in for a lunch for me. We were here at my place, but he was like, here, you know where everything goes. So you put it, hey, no barking. Sorry.
It's all right.
So he was like, you put all the clean stuff away and I'll just pack up. So now I have lunch for the next 2 days.
Oh, that's cool.
Quite nice.
That's nice. Is he at work?
No, he's at home. He has, I think, their class tonight.
Well, yeah, so that's what I got going on. I heard today, I'm not sure that I'm allowed to announce it yet. So I'm waiting for a couple of days to be able to make an announcement.
That thing, is it that thing I already know about?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh.
That I talked about that might be coming down the pike, but I just haven't heard yet. In my career. Yeah.
So you've talked to me about that.
Okay. Well, I haven't talked to the audience yet, but it's coming. I can probably make an announcement here in a couple of days, and I'm super excited. Yeah. And it is January. So what does that usually mean for our family? What are we doing?
Deep, dark, depressing January. What?
Searching for vacation spots.
Oh, yes.
So I think we've settled on the Lake of Michigan. Or Michigan.
Lake of Michigan. You want to try that again?
Lake Michigan.
Okay, good job.
Yeah, the Great Lakes area, somewhere up in there. It may or may not necessarily be right on the lakefront, but we're trying to find something that is, quick and drivable close by, but maybe have a pool or something like that too.
Well, and we're going in June, so is it going to still be is it going to be chilly?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Chilly for the lake? I don't
think so. I don't think so.
Because people will be in there Memorial Weekend. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. So, but looked at a couple more places today. So gonna send them around to you and the boys, and we'll figure out where we're gonna go. So I was initially looking, and I was like, man, this is some stuff is expensive. And then I started looking at Florida again, and the price of houses and stuff in Florida were super cheap. And then I was like, but we'd have to spend 4 days in the car. I don't know that I want to do that.
Or plane tickets.
Or a plane ticket. Yeah. So now, do we do that? And then we circled back. And then I was like, let's relook here. And I did a little different search. So the VRBOs and the Airbnb app is, I don't know. Sometimes you can get lost in there, or you'll find something. Here's what pisses me off: you'll find something, you're like, "Holy shit! It's only like this," and you go like look, and then you'll see that you forgot to change the dates out of February, and you're like, "Oh, that's the reason why it's only $220 a night because I had the dates set for February. Let's change that to June." Boom, 580.
Yeah.
Some crazy number, and you're just like, okay, well, just priced yourselves out of that place. So, all right, let's get to it. So part of our new series that we do here is we are discussing movies and watching movies from your genre or my genre. We are right with this movie, right in the wheelhouse of quotable movies from the 80s when I was 14 and 15 years old, stuff that my friends and I would go see at the movie theater 2 or 3 times. And then, of course, when VHS tapes come out, would watch them, rent them, and watch them over and over again. You could just never get too much of it. So it was my turn to assign a movie, and I assigned Spies Like Us.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So as I'm rewatching it, because I always rewatch it,
yes.
As I'm rewatching it, I'm thinking to myself, I'm guessing she doesn't understand the significance of this and this and this and this and this. So, first thing we need to do is we need to give a synopsis of the movie. So you, as the first person that's seen it, I will let you explain the movie.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to get into it in the first 5 minutes, but there's a lot of jargon and mumbo jumbo, and it's not very grabbing. So I was trying to keep up with them, what they were talking about. I knew they were trying to send people, and then they said something about sending decoys and finding decoys, and I was
oh my god, you don't even know the plot of the movie.
Listen, I know that I don't really. I mean,
my god.
I didn't understand. They were talking. I couldn't understand. I just couldn't.
Okay. All right. I'll synopsis.
But basically, they wanted to send these spies over into Russia to launch some missiles, apparently.
No, that is not what they
so that they could test their deflectors. Right? Okay, anyway. So I was also watching this with Nick, and we both
god.
We both said it was a terrible movie, but it was the greatest.
What?
No, stop. What we mean is entertaining, watchability. It's great. Did it get nominated for Emmys? Probably not. Or Oscars or a Golden Globe?
No,
probably not.
I can't imagine why Spies Like Us wasn't nominated for a Golden Globe.
Okay.
Of course not.
So they're they're these things called G20s or whatever, GL20s.
Yes.
These super, super really good spies, and you have to test and pass this test to do this.
Correct. Yes.
So they're trying to find 2 decoys, and then there's these 2, one's a reporter who gets put into a back room to report to, I'm assuming, the really terrible journalists. He's definitely not the press, the Speaker of the House or the press person. Maybe he is, but to me, when I think of the press person for a presidency, that room is usually a lot bigger.
Stop. I need to stop you before you dig an even bigger hole and realize what a moron you are.
Okay, tell me.
He's in the State Department. So he works for the State Department, which is basically under the Pentagon and the Department of Defense and things like that.
Cool.
He's a low level press liaison.
That's what I said.
Okay, no. First of all, you said he was part of the press. He's not part of the press.
No, but I mean,
he's the one that goes out and is basically he's basically a spokesman of policy,
like a liaison.
Right. He's basically a spokesman. He's like Paul Parisic. He's like Sergeant Paul Parisic. He's the mouthpiece for the department.
Yeah,
okay?
A liaison. Right. I was describing that.
Okay.
Okay.
But you went into the White House and all this.
So that was okay. Well,
that was Chevy Chase's
again. I was trying to.
That was Chevy Chase's
into the movie. Yeah. So and then Dan Aykroyd's character was some technician who worked with hardware and could fix anything in the Pentagon as well.
He was
machinery guy.
He was actually very, very smart and could figure out code. He
knew a lot
could
about
build
Russian
things
and the
right.
KGB.
Yes. Right.
So then these guys go to take this GL-20 test to become spies.
Well, let's back up. Why was, did you pick up on, I'll let you finish and then we'll start over. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Okay. I do want to point out that I did see pictures of Ronald Reagan. I almost started a drinking game and said, drink every time you see Ronald Reagan in the background. But,
Fair.
so they take this test, and then Chevy Chase's character is trying to cheat, and Dan Aykroyd's character starts to help him. And then they create this big old scene and cause. And then the two people who are looking for these decoys, for the GL-20 decoys, were like, these are the dumbest guys ever. They're perfect for the job.
Right.
They're our perfect decoys. So then they send them basically to this basic training camp to get trained. And then Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd are like, we want to go home. We don't want to do this.
Right.
And they're like, well, you're kind of forced to. And then they're like, okay, we're going to send you to Pakistan in the middle, and then you'll meet your contacts there.
Right.
Well, they didn't know that they were being set up to meet with the KGB. And they only caught on because Dan Aykroyd's character caught on and found it. And then they escape from the KGB. And they steal their vehicle and they go into this village. They say they're going to take turns sleeping. Chevy Chase's character's being annoying. They meet these doctors. Now, in the tent, I did pick up something about like the doctors in there were talking about like envoys, that they're waiting for the 2 envoys to come or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're waiting, did the shipment of penicillin and other stuff come in or whatever? So I was like, I almost was like, was that kind of like an Easter egg to tell me that these people are spies too? Or is this just a coincidence? They meet the doctors. Apparently, like the top guy in this village, his brother or son or whatever has appendicitis. And one of the female doctors, who's very attractive, who Chevy Chase has been flirting with, is like, yeah, I can do surgery, except I have nerve damage. So I'm going to tell my good friend here, the other doctor, how to do it. And they're trying to figure out how to take this guy's appendix out. And before they cut, the guy dies. And then they have to run away again because everyone hates him and wants to kill him.
So you realize that the doctor is a famous scene that everybody would quote in the 80s. It was like the greatest scene ever.
I looked over at Nick.
Me and my friend Scott Woodruff and Dean Hennessy would go, doctor, all the time in school. It was hysterical. Okay, go ahead.
And then, okay, so here was what Nick and I couldn't figure out. So when they leave Pakistan, they steal the ambulance and they go into this other village. They call the top 2 head hunters who hired them and are like, hey, where are our contacts? And they're like, you're still alive? You need to go deep into Russian territory on this armored road and meet your contacts there. Now, to me, I would have been like, red flag. Red flag. Why are they sending me?
Yeah, but they're dumb. That's the reason why.
True.
That's the reason why they're decoys.
So then they see the doctor, the female doctor in the village in a disguise carrying something. And they're like, oh, maybe she's a spy for the other guys. Like, we should follow her. It's our American duty or whatever.
Yep.
Start following her. And then they somehow end up in Russia where it's snowy. And then they were all in different clothes. And we're like, wait a minute, where'd they get all these furs? They were in the middle of nowhere. Where did they get all of these furs?
Right.
That's what Nick and I, and then I don't know. Then they run into here's the thing with these movies, there's so much antics. It's like they run back into the KGB spies from the beginning.
Yep.
And these like, I don't know, like military cops, Russian military cops. Like, I don't think they were like soldiers, but they were like cops. I don't know. And they try to kill Chevy Chase's character, and then Dan Aykroyd comes back and saves him. And then there's this whole grenade scene, which I have a qualm with because the guy pulled the pin, threw it over to Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase picks it up. He's like, oh, what is this? Oh, throws it back over to the house. Still hasn't exploded. The guards have enough time to look at each other, realize what's going on, run 10 feet from the house before the blast even goes off. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I said, maybe Chevy could have thrown it back, but that whole scene was like 30 seconds. No way it takes that long for a grenade to go off.
Okay.
And then
so that would be a plot hole.
That was definitely a plot hole.
Okay.
And then I don't know. Then they find them. So then they meet up back with this girl doctor because Dan Aykroyd got to her and they found out that, I don't know, she's actually a spy for the U.S. and that she's here.
She was
and
the
that
actual GLG.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And then they find the missile in this like Russian family. They pretend to be aliens to scare them and then give them horse tranquilizer, basically.
Right.
Set off this missile, realize that the missile is going to hit America and they don't know what to do and they think they're all going to die. So they do, what do you do when you all think you're going to die? And there's,
sleep with the beautiful Russian woman that just happens to be in camp.
Yeah, because the two other guys were actually gay lovers. And
Yes.
I love that we're seeing this type of representation in the 80s, actually. And
totally forgot about that part, by the way, until I watched it.
And then Dan Aykroyd's character is like sitting in his tent talking out loud, and then he realizes that he can reverse the code and send it back.
Yep.
And then it explodes in the air and it saves the day because the government's project had failed.
Yes.
Where they were trying to shoot laser beams at this missile to see if they could defend from a missile from Russia. Correct. And they could not. They miscalculated. And then they were like, everyone's going to die. We have to call the president. And then the two guys who were in charge of the laser project were like, nah, we planned for this. This is contingency. I guess they'll just die up there.
Right.
And then that made me realize how much is our government hiding from us?
A lot. That's a good synopsis. All right. So
today, and then they have a negotiation at the end, but they're playing
risk
for negotiation.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So let's start at the beginning. Austin Milbarge, Dan Aykroyd's character. Do you realize why he is like kind of in the basement area, things like that? Do you understand that whole significance?
No.
So clearly he's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
His boss is keeping him down there hidden so that his boss can take all the credit for the work that he does, which is why he sandbagged him on the test. He didn't want him to have enough time to prepare for the test, so he never told him until the night before.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Dan Aykroyd was like freaking out.
And was late. Was that why he was late the next morning?
Yes.
Too?
Yeah. Because he was busy studying. So that part is kind of interesting. The other part that I'm curious your thoughts on, and I've watched enough Chevy Chase movies that a lot of his characters are womanizing. So your thoughts on Chevy Chase's womanizing character? I'm sure you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, like you wouldn't see that today. Like it made me a little uncomfortable when he just kept touching that woman's breasts because I was like, okay, this is the 80s, you know.
Right.
Let him have it. It just reminds me that there once was a time where women were treated as a sex object on screen, and that was the time. And there's, I'm glad we don't do that anymore.
Right.
It was almost at the woman's expense.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to do that, but like make it funny, but without it being at like.
Right. I think it goes to the whole playing hard to get. That was the thing in the 80s was no doesn't really mean no.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She kept telling him no, but he continued to pursue her. Mm-hmm. That type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Let's be clear that in 2024, no means no.
No means no. That's correct. Yes. Yes, correct.
Yes. Yeah. But again, it was a different time. It's not an excuse, and that doesn't mean it's okay. And we clearly don't condone it because you wouldn't really see stuff like that in movies now.
Right.
But I have heard, I don't know, ever since I've heard that Chevy Chase was kind of an a-hole, I'm kind of like, I kind of just I'm like, is that a character?
Yeah, he was not. He was not very well liked by a lot of his coworkers. Was not very.
And actually, and my favorite character was Austin Milbarge, was Dan Aykroyd's character.
Okay, so that's the next. Well, let's get your overall reaction. Your overall reaction to the movie. 0 to 10 stars.
Okay. I get it was the 80s, but some of the CGI was absolutely terrible.
So bad. Well, of course.
Yikes, that was bad.
Of course.
For entertainment and watchability, I'd give it like an 8.
I would totally rule. I've forgotten how much I really liked that movie and how much I watched it when I was younger.
Maybe like an 8.5. Nick gave it a 7, which I thought was a little hard.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez, 7.
Him and I were straight up laughing out loud together during that classroom scene. Where they're just being absolute idiots.
What's hilarious about that is they pan to when they're actually caught and they're inside watching the film, and you see Dan Aykroyd get up, stand back. I'm a trained professional, and he totally goes into the whole scene. It's like so funny.
Oh yeah, that was a really good scene. That was a good one.
The training scenes are some of my favorites. When they're in the geoforce thing and their whole face is like this and stretched out or whatever, and then they get done and they're like, "What, are you gonna go get something to eat?" Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee. It's so dumb.
I thought it was like corny and cheesy, but again, that's kind of like the genre of 80s. Like it's kind of like.
I also forgot a lot of the people that are in that movie, like, were stars in other movies from then. So like one of the KGB guys, let me see if I can find his photo. Let's see. Hold on. Played the let's see. Probably can't find it all. Well, first of all, the drill sergeant guy was a huge star back in the mid 80s, and that was a small part for him. But the 2 KGB agents that were the shorter one, really blonde hair, the shorter one, he played in Animal House in the late 70s.
I don't know that I've seen.
He was like, yeah, he was. Well, that's.
I think
you want to talk about debauchery and anything that would not fly nowadays. Is Animal House. I may have to have you.
Might have to give it a watch. May not be
Animal
review. But...
Animal House is the first movie I ever watched where I saw boobs. So it's got a special place in my heart.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Best character. Your favorite character.
I really liked Dan Aykroyd's character, Austin Milbarge. Yeah, I think he was my favorite. Wait, one of the guys I feel like who was like the people who picked the decoys.
Yeah.
I feel like I recognized him.
Probably Bruce Davison.
Let me look.
Let me I'll share my screen and I'll hold on. This guy.
Yeah.
He was in a ton of movies. He was in the X-Men. I mean, he's still acting. That's crazy. But Spies Like Us.
Pull up the whole cast. You don't have to be on the IMDb website. Google has it right.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Mark Stewart.
I also thought that it was funny that their whole cover was the tomato.
Okay, so we'll go. I'm going to bring up and I'm going to read some of the trivia stuff at the end here. But there's a reason why that is.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a reason why that is. My favorite character is probably. I know I love Chevy Chase. Like I just.
That's okay. You can love him.
I love him. He's great. I'm probably going to make you watch Fletch next because it's even better. We may go on a Chevy Chase like heavy. But all these guys, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Bill Murray, all those guys came from like the original SNL cast from the late 70s.
Okay.
So they are iconic characters. All those guys started off in Saturday Night Live. So plot holes or LOLs?
Plot holes, I mean, like the whole weaponry, the whole like
How about the whole premise that they're actually going to launch a missile at themselves?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Ain't no
way.
We would have bombed some tiny island and see if we can make it work.
No way that would have happened.
No.
I wondered, as I watched it, if you understood how, like, Russia being a Soviet communist country and the Cold War, and how this was made in the mid 80s. So it was the United States and Russia, and that was it. Like, we were.
Yeah, I'd
so I wondered if you didn't understand the full significance of all of that.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that's a good point. It made me be more curious, definitely, about the Cold War. And actually, like, Nick was showing me, I was listening to this book on Spotify. Let me see if I can find it. Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the secret history of the 60s. Like, and they kind of talk about like communism and like the CIA, the CIA and the secrecy. Like, it definitely makes like interest me about what was going on, especially during the Cold War era. Like, I've always been really interested in World War II. I kind of have an interest in like Vietnam and the whole like why were we in Vietnam and that kind of stuff.
Well, we were in Vietnam to fight communism, and that was like the thing was after World War II, when communism came to ride, when communist Russia would start to move into certain territories, the United States would fight what they call a proxy war to stop them. They wouldn't necessarily be in the war and like fight, but they would fund it and things like that, similar to what we're doing in Ukraine now. Similar. But I mean, but we were actually sending soldiers, and so the Korean War was technically fought between Korea and China, but it was really financed between the United States and Russia. Same thing with Vietnam. The North Vietnamese and the South Vietnamese fought, but North Vietnam was completely funded by the United States or by Russia, and the South Vietnam was us. Same thing in Afghanistan. The United States defended Afghanistan for years against Russian aggression. Yeah. And then when we pulled out, I mean, this is all intertwined. When we pulled out in the late 90s or in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and left Afghanistan to just because Russia had pulled out. So we just stopped funding them. Then all those people that felt abandoned became hardcore anti-American because we abandoned them, and that led to the Taliban and led to 9/11. Because Osama bin Laden in the late 80s, his organization was funded by the United States government to fight the Russians. So
I'm learning. I'm learning things.
So I wondered if you understood the cultural reference of how much and how there was Russia was in our media was a hated thing, and the Russians were evil and all those things. So interesting. All right, I'm gonna read some trivia here. We got a short show tonight, but that's all right. So some of this trivia is actually pretty funny. Okay. So the film originally ended with the destruction of the world, but test audiences didn't like it, so a happier ending was shot with a soundstage in Burbank. I can't imagine that movie was ended with everybody dying. As a guest, So on the Chevy Chase show, this was actually a nighttime show. Chevy Chase had his own late night show at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Dan Aykroyd tells the story about how he and Chase had been pursued by a truck full of paratroopers while on location in Morocco. Aykroyd had taken a snapshot of the military unit who then pursued them at high speeds back to their hotel, where they evaded detection by abandoning their Jeep and hiding inside a van with curtains in the windows. The next day, as a prank, Aykroyd had John Landis, the director, tell Chase that he had been arrested and should expect them to be coming for him next. Ace Tomato Company is most likely a reference to United Fruit, now Chiquita Banana, a company widely known to have been involved with the CIA in the mid-50s. One of the American soldiers is General Meigs. Henry Meigs, an American business magnate operating in South America, was the uncle of one of the founders of United Fruit.
So they were like, that's the cover.
In 2009, Family Guy presented something of a sequel to the movie called Spies, reminiscent of Us.
Oh, wait, I have to watch this episode now because I've probably watched this episode 1,000 times.
Featuring Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd as themselves on another spy mission. Yes. And they explained that President Reagan appointed them real-life spies after seeing the film.
Yes. I've seen that episode quite a bit. I've never understood the references. Now I have to watch that episode. I love Family Guy.
Sir Paul McCartney's title track for the film had been his final American solo top 10 hit. So have you ever heard the song Spies Like Us?
No.
It's the title track sang by Paul McCartney. It was a huge hit back then. I would play it, but we'll probably get kicked off of Facebook. And YouTube. So
we didn't want to upset Facebook.
That's right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. When the computer operator sets the deflectors into bounce mode a moment before the rocket launch, the computer plays tones that are the first notes of the Jetsons theme song. This is Chevy Chase's most successful film in the North American box office in 1985. It grossed $60 million, while his other pictures, Fletch and European Vacation, grossed $50 million and $49 million respectively. Ironically, the latter two less financially successful films inspired sequels, while there was never a sequel to this film. So
they should just do one now.
I'll give you this. I'll throw this little tidbit. You know, the woman that was the love interest of Chevy Chase.
Yeah,
that was actually Dan Aykroyd's real wife. Donna Dixon and Dan Aykroyd got married after working together on Dr. Detroit, which is another crazy movie. I forgot about that. Apart from this film, both appeared in The Couch Trip, as did Chevy Chase, who cameoed in Aykroyd, and Dixon also appeared in Exit to Eden and the fourth segment of the Twilight Zone movie. So, let's see. Let's see what else is in here. When Chevy Chase's coworker asks if he is taking the Foreign Service Board exam, he says, well, it's supposed to be all new this year, 500 questions in 2 hours. That means that an exam taker would have to answer a question every 14.4 seconds. Interesting. That's probably it. That's all. It was a good movie. I liked it. It's always been fun to watch. I enjoy going back and watching some of these older movies. So
yeah, it's that one's really fun.
Yep.
All right. Are you open to any genre?
I don't know. I don't really want to watch any horror films if that's what you're talking about.
You're so lame. What if it's not even like that scary? Like nobody dies. It's not gory. It's just ghosts.
What is it?
Okay. You have never seen it, but it's called Insidious.
I've never seen it. Okay.
Right. No. So do you want me to read you a synopsis? It's either that or I have another movie that's not a scary movie in case you're too much of a chicken.
I'll tell you what, you got to pick. I can already see by the poster. I'm not sure I want to watch this.
Okay. Parents, Patrick, played by Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne, take drastic measures when it seems their new home is haunted and their comatose son is possessed by a malevolent entity.
No.
Now, some people find scary movies with ghosts sacrilegious. I have a strong faith in Jesus Christ, so it really doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me, but I don't want to watch anything with kids getting possessed. So
oh my goodness. The kid's not getting, it's not like The Exorcist where the kid's head is going to start spinning around and he's vomiting.
Okay. What's the other option?
The other option was with but this one's kind of like a romance comedy, kind of sad, kind of happy. You might have seen it. It's called The Vow with Rachel McAdams and Channing Tatum.
Jesus Christ. No, I've not seen it.
Okay.
Why are we picking these stupid movies?
Paige and Leo, because I'm trying to pick movies that I watched in middle school and stuff like that. Like, okay. Paige and Leo are happily married newlyweds, but their idyllic life together suddenly shatters when a car accident leaves her in a coma. When Paige awakes, she has severe memory loss and doesn't know Leo. She also has a confusing relationship with her parents and still harbors feelings for a former fiance. Despite these difficult obstacles, Leo is determined to renew their bond and rebuild their marriage.
Tell you what, let's have Twitter decide. I'm going to make a poll right now.
Well, I hope Twitter decides the scary movie. Do you want to hear some of the cast in this movie?
Yes.
Okay, in this one, Rachel McAdams, Channing Tatum, Jessica Lange, Scott Speedman. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, Scott Speedman. I don't know these people. And then in Insidious.
What was the name of that first one?
Insidious.
No, the other one.
The Vow. In Insidious, they have Patrick Wilson. He's really popular. Rose Byrne is really popular. So is Lynn Shay.
I've never heard of any of those people.
Okay, well, I watch a lot of scary movies, so.
Okay. It's out there. Recording Like Father, Like Daughter. Caitlin wants me to watch one of the following movies. You guys vote. The Vow or Insidious. God, that's neither one of those are great.
Exactly. But you know what? This is what this is about. Sharing the movies that we liked.
That's right.
Before our brains were formed.
That's right. All right, everybody. We didn't get to our sponsors. It's a short episode tonight, so we want to make sure that we're giving a shout out and talk a little bit about Revelton Distilling Company. I was down there Friday night with Jason from Drinks with Jason and got to sit down and interview Rob and Christy. We had a lot of fun, had some drinks, had a lot of conversation. And then, of course, Dan with Greenberry Realty, such a great partner. And then Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. And checking them out, combine Dan and Kyle. You'll have Dan find you a house and then go get your mortgage from Kyle. That's the route to go. That's the way to do it. So, and then of course our studio sponsor, AKC Marketing and Andrew Downs. Caitlin, we are going to do something a little different on Old Man Strength on the 26th. Amy is going to be my co-host, and we are going to interview Lee Waffle, who is the CEO and founder of Date Me Des Moines. It's a dating service in Des Moines. My friend Nikki asked if I'd be interested in having her on because she's struggling to find men to go to some of her dating events. So I thought it'd be fun, something different. So we're gonna bring Lee Waffle on, and we're gonna talk dating.
I'm sorry, her name is
Waffle.
Lee.
Yeah,
Lee Waffle.
Yeah, I think. What?
Love, just love. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, anyways, that's Sunday night, and then of course tomorrow night we're heavy hitting with both Hawk's Eye View, Side of the Storm, and Ball Don't Lie. So, Caitlin, we're gonna end out of here. You got anything to end?
Nope.
Spies Like Us. Super great. Go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're out of here.